Go.
Hello, family. I'm Robert. I'm a real alcoholic.
Hey, Robert.
I want to welcome everyone to the Atlanta Step Up Society book study. The name of our book study is Change Your Thinking, Change Your Life. Let's open with a moment of silence, followed by the Serenity Prayer. Serenity Prayer. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Tonight we're still in the chapter Working with Others, but we're on page 95. I just want to do a little review. Tonight's topic is going to be basically on what do you do when someone do not want the program. You know, you're trying to help somebody with the program of Alcoholics Anonymous and they don't want it. They even have instructions for that. Okay? A lot of times I follow the book and I do what the book asks me to do, and then I have critics, I guess like the Falcons do, that don't read the book and think I'm cruel or insensitive to the alcoholic. But I kind of follow the book. The book tells you exactly what to do if somebody don't want the program. Alright? But first of all, I want to go back and bring us kind of up to date. We have a prospect, someone who wants to come in, well, that we're going to do a 12-step call on. We don't even know if they want to come into the program or not. And we kind of tell our story, our experiences, you know, and then we kind of outline the program, you know, what the problem is. We talk about step one. Then we talk about the spiritual part of the program to them, you know, briefly. And then we outline the program. We kind of go through the 12 steps. And we kind of give them enough information that they can kind of make a decision whether they want to proceed or don't do it at all. So that's kind of what we do. And the instructions on how to do that is like the instructions on everything else is in the book. So tonight, we kind of got the guy up to a point, or the female up to a point, the candidate, that they have to make a decision whether they want us to continue to work with them or they want to go back to their old way of life. And that's a decision. It's kind of like step 3. You have to make a decision to live a spiritual life or return back to the chaos, the insanity. All right. So with that in mind, we're going to start on page 95. If he is not interested in your solution. Paul, you probably need to come up a little closer.
If he is not interested in your solution, if he expects you only to act as a banker for his financial difficulties or a nurse for his sprees, you may have to drop him until he changes his mind. This he may do after he gets hurt some more.
All right, check this out. This part of the book and working with others, I still apply this in my life today. With family, friends, or acquaintances, you know, and I still use this today. I learned some tools in this information that we're going to discuss today that I still employ in my life today, just people I meet. All right. If he is not interested in your solution, we kind of gave him the solution that we followed, and it worked for us. If someone is not interested in it, then it says, if he expects you to act only as a banker for his financial difficulties or a nurse for his sprees, you may have to drop him. Let him go until he changes his mind. You know, I have, by having Atlanta Step Up Society, we have people that enter our program with different motives. Some people come in because they think it's a shelter, which is not. It's a program. It's a recovery program. A chance for you to come in from 6 months, you know, on or whatever, and try to change your life and work on yourself. But a lot of people think it's a job. They come here to make a little money so they can pay their probation, you know, pay child support, or try to save a little money, right? And so we can, it don't take long for a person to be here before you know which path they're on. That makes sense? You know which path they're on. It don't take long. All right? Or the nurse's sprees. A lot of guys come in here with different medical conditions, different probation, and you know, all kind of conditions. All right? So I see it all the time. But what they're telling you, if you're working with a sponsee, or you got someone who's interested in the program, and all they keep asking you for money, I need money for this, I need money for that, I need to go here, I need to pay this bill, and they only focus on money, you need to let them go. And that's real easy to do. I had a guy not too long ago, I saw him, and I hadn't seen him, he was in our program and he relapsed. I ain't seen him about 4 or 5 years, and he was walking down the street. And he said, wow, I saw him from a distance, and he saw me. I was really kind of glad to see him. But I was also had some kind of this spiritual feeling or, you know, intuition that he would want to come back in recovery. Because when he was in the recovery environment, he did real well. Real well. I was rooting for him, you know what I'm trying to say? So when I saw him, he was coming up the road, and I was like, wow, he'd be great to come back in the program. And I was feeling that. We got closer, he gave me a big old hug. He said, man, God sure sent me here. I was like, wow, this is deep. He said, God told me to ask you for $10. My spirituality went right out the window. I said, well, I'm glad we got a God of our own understanding. But my God telling me, hell no. Get somewhere. You know? Even though I wanted to kind of help the man, he had to go. His motive was totally different from mine. I'm glad we got our own understanding. But mine telling me, tell you, hell no. You may have to drop him until he changes his mind. Now maybe he might go out there, find that $10 or whatever you need, and do what it say right here, get hurt some more, and he'll come back more willing to be a part of the program. So, remember we were talking last week about making mistakes? You know, you're almost a newcomer yourself. But you got willing to help someone in the program. So we make these kind of mistakes too. We give them money, think we're doing the right thing, they go off and relapse. You know? I done took God to the hospital and gave him some money, told him I'd pick him up. And they never even went and checked in. Boom. You know, so this is what I be talking about. The mistakes are not made from my willingness to help. The mistakes are made from me not knowing what to do. The when and the how to do it. That makes sense? Yeah. All right. You have to let them go. Yeah. All right. Some people will say, well, no, you're supposed to keep working with them. No, you're not. The book say let them go. Drop them. They say easier than they're harder than let them go. They say drop them. Now the next paragraph.
If he is sincerely interested and wants to see you again, ask him to read this book in the interval. After doing that, he must decide for himself whether he wants to go on. He should not be pushed or prodded by you, his wife, or his friends. If he is to find God, the desire must come from within.
If he is sincerely interested and wants to see you again, ask him to read this book in the interval. This time between now and the next meeting. Here's a copy of Alcoholics Anonymous. Start reading it. And try to explain to him how to read it. You know, when I read it the first time like a novel. I was done in the first 164 pages in 3 days. And I got absolutely nothing out of it. Nothing. And then I learned when I started going to book study to break it down. So I ask people, I know they can't break it down because they have no kind of like, you gotta have a fellowship too to kind of break it down, you know what I mean? You gotta be able to hear and be involved in the fellowship, working the programs when they start gelling and making sense. But I just tell them, read the doctor's opinion and take notes. Or do from the beginning, learn a little history about AA and take notes, and I answer the notes. All right? And I know you have to go back to the beginning of Alcoholics Anonymous. All right? When this book was written, it wasn't but 2 groups, right? The Akron and New York. So if they say leave the book and have them read it, because the businessmen were going out. The book was being sent in the mail, or businessmen were carrying it when they go to meetings. Like somebody's in, let's say somebody's in Ohio, and they got a meeting in Atlanta, a business meeting, and they know, and the main office had got a inquiry from someone in Atlanta. The businessman would know from New York when they go into Atlanta, and they would carry some books and go and meet these people. Remember I told you they were doing 12-step calls like doctors used to go around house to house. Yeah. And they would go meet the guy at the house, and then they leave the book. So the interval, he might not be back for another 3 months. That makes sense? So that's, you know, the interval, this time, this space was a lot larger than it is today. You know, you ain't gotta get on the internet and get it, you know? But the interval wasn't like what we're kind of talking about now. I just want to throw that in. Because they was traveling with the books, mailing them out. They might mail it from New York out, and then the guy get it, he read it, and then the other guy come in, he show him how to do the 12 step when he come down to Atlanta. That makes sense? It says that after doing that, he must decide for himself whether he wants to go on. He should not be pushed or prodded by you, his wife, or his friend. Don't make nobody do the 12 steps. Don't force it on them. Now that's hard for me to say, because I ain't never not forced nothing on nobody in this program. I try not to, but it's kind of hard. You know what I mean? Because I was a book stomper. I think somebody was telling me, I was talking to a person this week, and she was real upset because her roommate is a 12-stepper, and she's a fellowshipper, and they both have a lot of time. The roommate had like 20-something years, 25 years. She got like 9 years, and they got in an argument. And the roommate told her, I'm not talking to you no more. You don't work the steps. You know nothing about them. You never did a 4-step. You never did a 5th step. You never made a man. I'm not speaking to you no more. The roommate. She called me, is that right? I said, yeah. You got 9 years and never worked in steps. Your sponsor, I mean, that roommate might be making some sense. Because she can see a lot of insanity in you. So she hung up on me. But so you're not supposed to push this down no one, make nobody do it. Because once somebody really start working on themselves, that is fun. Yeah. It's really a fun process. It's not, you can't beat yourself up. It's fun. You know, when you start growing and stuff start making sense spiritually to you, you know, and you go by a situation will happen that probably happened 2 years prior, and you in the same situation, but you don't respond the same way. You have more peace and serenity about you. That means you have done some work on yourself, and it becomes fun when other people are like going a little off or a little out of alignment. You don't have to be. And they don't understand, you know, a lot of people today don't understand why I'm not so bent up out of shape because they are. Why my contentment level is a lot more calmer and more peaceful than theirs. Because everything in the world today, I know does not have to affect me. You know, I can't go around worrying about other people's problems no more. I just can't do it. There's 7 billion people on earth. I can't even begin to worry about their problems. Even with my immediate family, too much of their problems pull me out of alignment. It's just really, really nice to be peaceful and serene. You know, it's really, really nice. It's a good place for me. I don't know about nobody else. And that's working on yourself. And the 12 steps is probably the best. Without the 12 steps, I don't think I could have did any other spiritual work. Because I had no foundation. The 12 steps is probably the best spiritual work for somebody that has no conception whatsoever about spirituality. That has no conception. Even though you are a religious person, being in your church a long time, I guess you're religious. But if you're an addict, it's also saying you're insane too. So if you were in a religion for 30 years and you've been an addict, and then you come into alcohol, a 12-step program, and you work the 12-step and you're not an addict, to me it's simple. Any, many, mighty, mo. That's what worked. I cannot deceive myself no more. I can't say this did it, this didn't do it. This did it. And once I realize this did it, I can go back over here and now work it. But the best, I don't know what, I guess how to put it in words. The best, if there's a hell, and you gotta come up out of it on earth, 12 steps will get you up out of it. 12 steps will get you up out of that one. There's nothing else that I know of on the planet that takes the most sociable, the most pathetic, the most degrading human beings, what people decide society gets cast away, pushed out, skid row bums, laying in their own puke on the ground. The best good Samaritan in the world walk over them. The only program I know that will rise that person up from that and make them to a productive member of society, where you can go back to your church where you used to be a member of, sleeping outside and become the pastor of it, is the 12-step program. That's what pulls you up out of that miry clay. If it's diamonds in the rough, to get out the rough, it's the 12-step program. I know no other program that could do it. And I'm a living witness. I done seen people do it. So it says, if he is to find God, the desire must come from within. And that's hard. That's the only place we can find God, is within. Within your mind. All thoughts is in the imagination. In the human imagination. Every thought that ever was is the mind of God. All the human thoughts put together, whether they're good or bad, still come from the same place. No matter how far down you could go, how low you could be. I used to say I was a maggot under a rock. And what I mean by that, if you go outside on your way, when you jump over them little rocks going out from here, pick one up, take your cell phone, take a little light, shine it down there, see if you don't see a maggot under that rock. That was me. Even the lowest I ever went, I still had God in me.
I'm with you.
The one they say is this serial killer that killed 50 people sitting on death row. The lowest of society, locked up 24/7 with shackles. That person has the same God in him as President Obama.
Yeah.
The same God. Yet the desire must come from within. Next one.
If he thinks he can do the job in some other way or prefers some other spiritual approach, encourage him to follow his own conscience. We have no monopoly on God. We merely have an approach that works for us, with us. But point out that we alcoholics have much in common and that you would like, in any case, to be friendly. Let it go at that.
You know, this right here is kind of asking us to make sure that the prospect or protege is honest. We're trying to get to a level of honesty so he can say, okay, I need to do this program. And I know for me, when it came to other approaches about God and trying to stay clean, I tried them.
Yeah.
I really did.
Yeah.
I went to another program, a religious program, for 2 years. 2 years. I stayed clean with them for 2 years. I prayed. I went to church. I read my Bible. It had no contact whatsoever with outside world stuff. Couldn't watch the news. Couldn't hear no music. It had to be gospel. Everything had to be gospel. Had to be religious. Everything. I really put all I had that was in me to make it work. To make it work. One day, I jumped out the window and ran and got high. And so I'm not telling you I didn't try. I tried. I gave it all I could get. And it didn't work. Alright? And looking back now, even though I knew all that stuff, I never took a day and worked on me. I didn't work on me. I was working on outside stuff. How to pray so everybody can hear me pray good. I used to walk like 5 miles, man, to more guys, to a suit line that had a clothes closet to get me a nice suit to wear to church. I did a lot, but I jumped through that window. I had a guy, a friend of mine came up to me today. He hasn't been in the program but a few days. And I had to get him to say, do you really want this? Thanksgiving is coming up. We have a 30-day plan, a buddy system. For 30 days, you have to be with your buddy. He been here 2 days. Walk up to me and say, my mama wants me to come home for Thanksgiving. I said, don't you know I got 21 years clean? Don't think I'm a fool. You a fool. Now I have to break it down to him, see if you really want this or not. Because if you ain't got the 3 week clean and you've been using, I can tell you one thing about your mama. She don't want you home for no Thanksgiving. She might have said, can you come by? Or they gonna allow you out? And then it might have been a situation where she probably would say, well, if it's all right if you don't come over here. But he gonna try to tell me his mama won't him. And I said, no, she don't. Nobody wants you this. Even the turkey don't want you. I can't come up with one human being that want that man this Thanksgiving. Maybe next Thanksgiving. But not this one. We don't all walk that walk. They don't want to see you on no holiday. You ain't up at 3 weeks or a month clean. Come on now. You know? But that's the kind of decision he gonna have to make. The choice is, are you gonna stay here and be with one of us, or go out and do what you gotta do? But don't be deceived. Don't fool yourself. Man. If he thinks he can do the job some other way, or prefer some other spiritual approach, encourage him to follow his own conscience. Even though we have to do that, because we know 9 times out of 10 it's not going to work. I'm not saying religion don't work. I'm not saying that. It do work. It really does. But you cannot be a crackhead in the religious system and think it's going to work to get out of drugs. It ain't going to do it. A crackhead reading the Bible is still a crackhead reading the Bible. Ain't no miracle done took place. None at all. Nothing. An alcoholic reading the Bible is still an alcoholic reading the Bible, and no miracle gonna jump on the pages and take that drink away. It doesn't happen, because I've been a crackhead reading the Bible. I've been an alcoholic reading the Bible. The only thing that relieved the obsession to you for me is the 12-step program and you guys. Without this, I know I'd be dead. We have no monopoly on God. We're not the only way people can find God. We merely have an approach that worked with us. And that's the whole system. That's the whole thing. If we have an approach that worked with us, why can you want to hang around us and don't do what we do? Why? Why do you want to come into a 12-step program and don't work the 12 steps? Why? I don't understand that. I don't understand it. And we are in the chapter of working with others. Why would you want to come in the 12-step program, don't work the 12 step, and don't help others? It get worse. You know? But point out that we alcoholics have much in common, and that you would like, in any case, to be friendly. Let it go at that. That's better than saying hell with you. I won't be your friend, but I'm out of here.
Do not be discouraged if your prospect does not respond at once. Search out another alcoholic and try again. You are sure to find someone desperate enough to accept with eagerness what you offer. We find it a waste of time to keep chasing the man who cannot or will not work with you. If you leave such a person alone, he may soon become convinced that he cannot recover by himself. To spend too much time on any one situation is to deny some other alcoholic an opportunity to live and be happy. One of our fellowship failed entirely with his first half-dozen prospects. He often says that if he had continued to work on them, he might have deprived many others who have since recovered of their chance.
All right. Do not be discouraged if your prospect does not respond at once. You get somebody who don't want to do this thing, do not become discouraged. I can honestly say that when you get a lot of years in and you work with a lot of people, I don't really get too much discouraged no more. You know what I mean? I kind of feel that kind of like my tolerance level has shifted. If you don't want to do it, and I give you the best I can, it's easy to find somebody else. You know, quickly. Because it's a lot of people that's in the fellowship that the fellowship done ran their course. It done ran its course. That makes sense? Like you come in and you become professional fellowshippers, but your life started to crumble.
Yeah, yeah.
Even though you are in the fellowship, but you're not a 12-stepper, your life starts to crumble and fall apart. It's kind of like, remember how we slid like a maggot on a rock into the room when we first came in? Then we get clean and sober, and you get 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, something like that, and your life started to crumble, and you got to slide, you'll slide into the 12 step, just like you wiggled your way into the room. You're going to have to do them, because your life becomes too bad. Those people is willing to work these steps, because they know that I done tried everything I can get, and my life is falling apart. Now I need to take it to another level. They're here. They're everywhere. You know, and which is a good thing. So I don't really be discouraged. I find me somebody like that real fast. Search out another alcoholic and try again. You are sure to find someone desperate, there it is, desperate enough to accept with eagerness what you have to offer. You have a way out. We have a way out that's proven globally now, not locally, globally, all over the world. There's a way out of substance abuse. There's a program that works for millions, about billion now, I'll say billion, of people. There's a way out of this stuff. And all they have to do is be willing to do it. We find it a waste of time to keep chasing a man who cannot or will not work with you. In the book up front, in one of the chapters up front, it says there's only two type of people who cannot recover, that won't get it. The people who cannot do it, and the people who will not do it. Two types, the cannots and the will nots. But even the cannots, if they got emotional reason or a mental reason, if they have the capacity to be honest with themselves, they too can recover. So that eliminates it to one, the will nots. If you will not do it, you will not recover. That's it. People come to me all the time because I'm in this environment. I've been in 3 treatment centers. I've been recovered 4 times, 7 times. But I'm graciously coming back to you. You know why you coming back? Because you will not do the 12 steps. You will not take your medicine. Let's talk about that for a second. If I have an abscess in my mouth, and then my tooth needs to be pulled, but there's an abscess, and it's open, and it's pulsing. My breath smelling like an elephant's dead butt. You know what I'm saying? And it's pulsing it. If I went to the dentist and asked them to remove that tooth, they will not do it. They say infection has set in. We have to give you some medicine. They will put me on an antibiotic to cure or to remove the infection. After I take the antibiotic, the infection is gone, then they will remove the tooth. Correct?
Right.
Then let's compare that analogy to people in recovery. People come into recovery, they don't have an abscess tooth. They have impulsive elephant butt life. Their entire life is an infection. Everything about them is palsy, bleeding, infected. We tell them, you have to take your medicine for your infected life, which is the 12 steps. That's your antibiotic to cure the disease. Right then and there, oh no. Oh no, I'll go back to church. Okay. I got another way to do it. Okay. I move back to grandma's house. Okay. You still taking the infection? Nothing's been removed. But here's the twist. That same addict can go to the doctor with that pulse, that infection. And the doctor tell them take these 10, 20, 30, 20 pills, 30 pills, whatever. They grab them before they exit the building. I done did this myself. Yeah. The water fountain right there, it say take 1 pill every 8 hours. Instantly you put 3 in your mouth, pot it and grab some water, instantly, with no problem. Then you come in here, same addict, we tell you your life is infected. Here's the medicine. I don't want to do that. I ain't gonna take it. Can't do it. Something wrong with that. You're willing to listen to another man about the tooth, but you unwilling to listen to another man about your life. Maybe we all need to have doctor degrees or whatever. So I'm not your sponsor, I'm your doctor. You know? We find a waste of time to keep chasing a man who cannot or will not work with you. If you leave such a person alone, he may soon become convinced that he cannot recover by himself. Just let him be. To spend too much time on anyone's situation is to deny some other alcoholic an opportunity to live and be happy. And that's our mark. We want to live and be happy. At least I do. And if you run around here trying to convince someone else, you know, there ain't but so much energy and time in a day. You know, if I'm focused on you 3, 4, 5 hours, I'm defocused on me. One of our fellowship failed entirely with his first half-dozen prospects. He often says that if he had continued to work on them, he might have deprived many others who have since recovered of their chance. So what he's saying is that he had all these guys that was relapsing and wasn't doing what he wanted, you know, wasn't doing the program. If he kept focused on them, these people who got it probably never would have got it by playing with somebody who don't want it. And today is so simple. You know, I'm glad to say America. In America, I don't know about other countries, but I have to say other countries because this is seen all over the world. In America, we have what you call the pathway system. All right? You have to log into the pathway system to get any professional type treatment facility or any type of help. So you go in the pathway system. Seems like the pathway system track you from treatment center to treatment center to treatment center. I have people come in here, we done the homework. Wayne, I said, Wayne, how many treatment centers have you been in? 8. And I had 3 years, 8. Coming out, so how many treatment centers you been in? 2. 2. Man, you ain't been in no 2. You been in 8. But you'll say 2. Yeah. But some, they might need to kind of like tweak the system a little bit or something. Say, okay, he been in, you know, it's just a computer, right? Right. So he been in 4 treatment centers, and they should have some kind of question. Did he do the 12 steps or not? Yes or no? Yeah. And if he been in 4 treatment centers, and the answer been no, 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 and no, then that 5th treatment center should be denied. So you put a name in there, ding, 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 no. You know, no. Can't go back. For what? That's just another 5th place you going that you unwilling to do the work. Right. Flag them. No, he can't go. And the only time he come back in a treatment center, if it was my money, well, you know, I ain't putting a lot of money, he'll be a counselor. That's when he returned. That's true, man. That would stop a lot of this crazy stuff. In and out of these people program, wasting their time and money, knowing damn well you ain't gonna do nothing. Right, listen? Ding, ding, ding. No. Cause that's what happening. You know, people. This is taxpayer money. Let's be real.
Yeah.
People paying a lot of money. They take a lot of money up and give it out to these organizations that they keep letting the same people come in and forbid.
Suppose now you are making your second visit to a man. He has read this volume and says he is prepared to go through with the 12 steps of the program of recovery. Having had the experience yourself, you can give him much practical advice. Let him know you are available if he wishes to make a decision and tell his story. But do not insist upon it if he prefers to consult someone else.
Alright, suppose you are now making your second visit to a man. He has read this volume, that book, and says he is prepared to go through with the 12 steps of the program of recovery. There it is. He got the book, he probably done been to some meetings, now he's prepared to work on himself. He's prepared to do the 12 steps, or the program of recovery. There's the program, AA, NA, CA, whatever A, it made up two parts, the fellowship and the program. I'm in the fellowship, now I'm prepared to do the program, to work on myself. Alright? That means your good sharing gotta go. Having had the experience yourself, you can give him much practical advice. Since I did it, I can tell you what happened to you. I can almost tell you, spirituality is really simple. Everybody who do the work almost get the same results. Everybody who don't do the work get the same results. It's not a real complicated thing, you know. Haven't had. If God was so complicated, I think God is complicated because we don't know who He is. You know, now I know without a shadow of a doubt. If I think what I think God's will for me is, if I think it up, then it is God's will. Because God, I and the Father are one. It's not no, I used to have to go think what I thought God's will was going to be for me. You know what I'm trying to say? Now I know when I come up with a concept or something, that is God's will. I don't have to think outside the box no more. It's what it is what it is. It's part of me. Alright? So what I was thinking, like, what we have, everybody who do the work end up some kind of way breaking down the chains of spirituality and religion. That makes sense? You become more open-minded. You start to see life, the beauty of life, in everything and everybody. You know what I'm trying to say? Sometimes I'll be riding down the boulevard and I see all them people outside and I see the drug people and everything, and people panhandling and stuff. And I look on and I say, you know, the Spirit of God is in that guy. God is in that person right there. He just don't know it. But He's there. Sometimes we want to shake. Ah! Come on. You know? Because we really, if we really talk a little bit better, I think a lot of that crime and stuff will have to go away. It comes from us thinking it's somewhere else. Yeah. And not a part of me. And that separation is the blasphemy. Wow. That separation is the sin. Not knowing who you are. Now there's some religion got that one right. There's some religion got that right. I don't want to name them, a lot of them, but some of them wear bow ties. They got it right. You know what I'm saying? You know, some of them have it right now. I ain't even seen the guy with the little hats on. I ain't seen him pick up no New Testament. Some people got it right. But I know the addict had it wrong. We had it wrong. Because that gave us the opportunity to justify what we did. Because he's out there. Once you bring him in here, the justification goes. It is what it is. I am. That's it. I am. Whatever you want me to be, I am. I am the sinner. I am the poor man. I am the rich man. I am the 12-stepper. Whatever it is, it's in me now. There is no separation. I can't blame nobody else no more. I can't blame the government no more. It's me. Government didn't rob me of my taxes. I didn't pay them. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's me. I am what I am. All right. It says that let them know you're available if he wishes to make a decision. That's what I'm at. All right. Then tell his story, but do not insist upon it if he prefers to consult someone else. People come to me all the time and ask me, well, I got this sponsor and I want you to be my sponsor, but shall I drop him or go with you? I say, do both. If you trust this man from the beginning and he got you to this point and you want to go further and you trust me to take you further, I wouldn't drop him, because now you're going to go further and have a resentment. You know, I use both and kind of phase out. You know what I'm trying to say? I use both. I had me a sponsor that I could kick it with, call anytime, then I had a 12-step serious sponsor. He didn't want to hear none of that stuff. You know, he wanted to know where I was on the page, what I was doing. Yeah. You know, that's what he wanted to know. He didn't want to hear none of that relationship junk. You know, so you gotta have to use both. Cause you come to me talking about relationship, I'm gonna ask you whoa. Where you at in the 4th step? Are you supposed to be writing names or doing something like that? Yeah, well, I don't want to talk about that. That's not my job. So you probably need both. You know? The next one, he may be broke.
He may be broke and homeless. If he is, you might try to help him about getting a job or give him a little financial assistance. But you should not deprive your family or creditors of money they should have. Perhaps you will want to take the man into your home for a few days, but be sure you use discretion. Be certain he will be welcomed by your family and that he is not trying to impose upon you for money, connections, or shelter. Permit that and you only harm him. You will be making it possible for him to be insincere. You may be aiding in his destruction rather than his recovery.
Remember I told y'all in the beginning that I even use these rules or principles in my life today with family. Yeah. This show applies to family. And I have my daughters, they're very, very successful in society. But I had to stick to this one. He may be broke and homeless. She may be broke and homeless. I have a story, and I know I'm going to get in trouble for telling it, but I'm going to tell it. She ain't went past the 4th video anyway. By the time she catch up to this one, you know. And my daughter, right, when she was a little younger, like when she about maybe 12 or 13, we took our basement and my brother renovated it and turned it into an apartment. Right, she's getting a teenage age, so she lived in the basement, and it's a complete apartment, a nice one. So she could just come out on the side door, you know, and drive in the driveway and come in and out, because she's getting older, and especially when she got in like high school and then college, she kept it on. So she started dating this guy. I guess she's about 18 or 19 years old. She's dating this guy, and I used to leave at 6 a.m. 6 a.m. in the morning to go to the gym before coming to work. So I went down there and I said, look, you know, I did my fatherly inspection. I kind of proved to the guy. But I said, if y'all over here or something like that, don't block me in. 6 o'clock, because I got that military thing. I can't find half the stuff I'm looking for anyway at 5 a.m. You know what I'm saying? So I will put everything in the right place. All my watch right here, you know, my watching ring right here. This, my belt, my clothes, all lined up. So I'm hitting it, boy.
Yeah.
You know, I'm in order. I went out one morning, cut my car, get it back up, his car right there. That was before my real 12-step. So I got out of the car, I went down that basement, I bust that door open with my foot. Pow! I went off. I said, you got to go. I told you don't be in my driveway. You got to go. You got to get out of here. I was mad, I was raising him. You got to go. She said, she was scared. He leaving. I said, you got it twisted. I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about you. If I give it to you, I don't have to worry about this no more. Next year, she had bought her own place. You know what I'm saying? You gotta be real. I ain't gonna let nobody come in and do me. She thought I was talking about him. No, if I get rid of you, I gotta worry about this one no more. She had that twisted. He may be broke and homeless. If he is, you might try to help him about getting a job or give him a little financial assistance. That's kind of the sponsors do that. All right? Because they know you got to pay to stay, no matter where you go.
That's right.
But you should not deprive your family or creditors of money they should have. Don't go overboard with this. Don't take from your bills or something like that to help nobody. All right? Perhaps you will want to take the man into your home for a few days. But be sure you use discretion. I'm going to tell y'all something. I took a guy in my apartment, very early recovery. Maybe a year or in, I let him stay there because he had relapsed. We didn't have cell phone. We just had the landline, you know, the wire phone. So he stayed like a week. Then he was gone. Went in treatment. Do you know in that 1 week he stayed, it took me 3 months to clean up the week that he left me with. Phone bills, you know what I'm trying to say? All kind of crazy stuff. People were still calling my phone looking for him. It just carried on for about 3 months after he was gone. I said, never again. I put a stop to that. I don't care, Peachman Pie, shelter, anywhere. You ain't coming in here. It took me a long time to clean up that mess. You know, little stuff, residue just hanging around. You know? It said, perhaps you will want to take the man into your home for a few days. Now, be certain he will be welcomed by your family and that he is not trying to impose upon you for money, connection, or shelter. You got to find that out real fast. Some people didn't want to just get out the rain. You know, don't be wet and cold. But they don't have no intention about recovery. Perhaps permit that and you only harm him. You will be making it possible for him to be insincere. You may be aiding in his destruction rather than his recovery. There's a whole nother thing about codependency. There are some people that are very, very codependent. They need somebody around to validate who they are to do this with. There's a great book called Codependency No More, written by a lady, I can't remember her name, but she's in recovery. What's her name?
Melody
Beatty. That's a good one. That helped me a lot. You learn about codependency. Because I had codependency real bad.
Me too.
And I'm going to end with this one right here. But I had codependency real bad. And what I found is that when I first got clean and sober, my self-esteem was so low, and then like everything I wanted to do, I had made promises and never fulfilled. With my children, my family, you know, people. So I was on a destructive course to clean up the wreckage of my past, even if it hurt me. That makes sense? I really, really wanted, like, if my daughters would call and ask me for a favor, all three called at one time. And all three of them wanted me to be at a different spot at the same time. I would say yes to all three of them. Trying to be in three places at one time. I didn't know how to say no. You understand what I'm saying? And I needed to feel good about myself by helping them.
Yeah. Yeah.
So even if I didn't get a chance to help them, then I felt bad. I was enmeshed with other people's problems. I thought it was my Christianly recovery, sanctified self to save the world and feel bad. I was really codependent. I didn't know how to say no and mean it. I would go, I told you, I gave a scenario how I would like go downstairs in the thrift store and let's say somebody like Steve would push the trash, be cleaning up. And then he got to jump on the truck and go out. Well, he left the mop bucket, the trash, everything in one spot. He moved on to his next job, next mission. He jumped on the truck driver, hi, let's go. He forgot about that. He jumped on the truck and he go. Well, that's at 9:30 in the morning. There's 5 or 6 guys that work here. I go to a meeting. I pass the mop bucket when I go to meeting at 10 o'clock. I come back from the meeting at 2:30. The mop bucket's still there. All the customers walking over. It's already it's an unsafe act. If OSHA would have came in here, it'd been over. All right. So it's unsafe. Some kid could have got hurt, or a baby could have went in there and drunk some of that water. I'm going down to the hospital getting sued. Getting the whole 9 yards. It's still there at 2:30. This is how you know you codependent. You grab everybody work here and say, why is that bucket still here? If it's 6 people, you're going to get 6 excuses why somebody else should have took care of it. You're going to get 6 different things. I'm telling you, as a leader, I know. I done seen it 100,000 times. Somebody will volunteer then to move it and get it in its proper position, right? Now, as the manager of the place, would I be wrong for trying to make that correction? No, absolutely not. I would come into my room, Eric, and close the door and say, do they still love me? Are they mad at me? Did I hurt their feelings?
Yeah.
That's codependency. They ain't give a damn about me or the company for leaving it right there. But I go back and beat myself up for something somebody else did, and I tried to correct it and make it right. You beat yourself up when you're doing something right, you got some issues. Some serious issues. Thank y'all for a good meeting.